a mic test right quick. Let me pull up my lay phone. I'm getting text from Bleacher Report that Cade, I guess, broke Katie's ankles or something.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And
Oh,
Harden.
wow. And Harden? Well, that's not hard to break Harden's ankles, bro. He don't play
Yeah,
D.
Olay defense. Right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. And Harden? Well, that's not hard to break Harden's ankles, bro. He don't play.
It's funny hearing you say that live. But yo, what it do? GG Nation, GG Legion. It's your fella again, Straussman the GG. Welcome to another episode of Golden God and Friends podcast. Episode 64. 64. We're going to talk about the Sony State of Play. We're going to talk about Nintendo Switchy Online Pass. We're going to talk about the Sega Microsoft Alliance. It should be a pretty quick one, and a little bit of a GTA trilogy sprinkled in there, because we're getting that next week, and I'm pretty excited to talk about that. We will have a Guardians of the Galaxy podcast in the next couple days here. Probably next week we'll have a Guardians of the Galaxy podcast. I'm playing through that right now. Lou already beat it, which is obviously the guest, my co-host today. But I'll be getting through that either tonight or tomorrow. So we'll be playing on that. And also the Game of the Year nominees should be popping out pretty soon the next couple weeks here. And we're going to do a pod on that. So stay tuned. There should be a lot of pods this month for sure. So apologies for the wait here. The last one I think was the PlayStation Showcase we did with me, JJ, and Lou. But it's going to be fun here. I can hear your TV in the background, Lou. Sorry.
My bad.
You're good.
I got the Nick game on, so
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I understand. But also, we're not covering the Elden Ring gameplay. I haven't got a chance to see it yet. I'll do that in a separate video next week. And I think there was one other big news story. I think of the Avengers thing. We'll talk about that in the Guardians of the Galaxy podcast, because those two games are kind of linked together, at least in people's minds. But hey, we're going to have a fun episode. And I got Skip to my Lou with me today. How you doing, Lou?
What's going on, fellas? So, it's going to be a good one. Be a good one today. I don't know how long, but it's going to be a good one.
Probably a quick one.
Wait.
It'll probably be a short and sweet one. Kind of like a State of Play for some people. Not for many other. We'll talk about. I'm interested. We'll save that for last. But let's start with some kind of our housekeeping. Like, what have we been playing? What have we been enjoying the past few weeks, Lou? What's been happening in the gaming world for you, gaming wise?
I've been playing Far Cry 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. I pre-ordered the GTA trilogy. Let's see. We played NHL, and that's really it. I think that's it. I've been doing MLB content, so that's all I've been really working on.
But that's a lot,
which is a lot, so.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Far Cry is a huge effing game, and Guardians isn't a slouch of a game either. It's for a single player game, you can put some time into it. Good 15, 20 hours.
It's fun 15 to 20 hours. It goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it does. We won't talk too much of Guardians here because we'll save it for the pod, but I am very impressed with that game. It's really, really fun and really, really solid, and I like their rendition of the characters so far. It's kind of similar to the James Gunn stuff, but we'll talk more in depth about that. But what were some of your early impressions about the game? Were you hyped at all for Guardians at all?
I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. I originally had it on my Black Friday list. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up now because it looks good. It looks decent. And, let's see how it goes. And I personally really liked it. So I can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait to talk about it on Monday or Tuesday whenever we want to do it. So it's very, very, very very, very. It felt like a very quick game,
Yeah.
but it was because of so much fun that I had doing it. So and playing and listening and the story, all that type of
Yeah,
stuff. So
the effing soundtrack, even the fake band they made, the Star Lord band, is freaking awesome in that game. Like it
yeah,
just, especially with the 3D audio headset, just I like obviously that's kind of what's known for the James Gunn, and I just watched Guardians 1 earlier, and it still really holds. It's hard to believe Guardians 1 was in 2014.
yeah,
And it was the first real big chance of the MCU because it was very out there, it was very spacey and stuff, and it has that James Gunn fun and feel to it. Like obviously, I haven't watched the new Suicide Squad, but I heard that one has a similar vibe, but a different vibe. And then Guardians 2, you and me talked about, and I think I said this in our previous rankings video of the Marvel MCU movies way back when, a couple years ago. When there wasn't that many. I think there was only like 20 at the time, which actually is a fuck ton. But now there's probably like 30, 40 Marvel movies and
yep.
TV shows and shit now. But I think I had Guardians 2 ranked higher than Guardians 1. I really still believe. I think Guardians 2, Volume 2, is very good.
Yeah, I think Volume 2 is better than 1, but we talked about that earlier. So I like the story and everything in there. So
yeah, it's just a fun ride, and that's what the game made me want to do, is go back and watch the movies and be like, man, these still hold up really, really well, and it reminds me of old MCU a lot, where they were having more fun, I think, with a lot of stuff. But you mentioned another big game, and I know a lot of you always ask why we don't do a spoiler cast for Far Cry at all, but it's generally a big effing game, and then B, it's kind of my comfort game. It's my comfort food. I don't. I think the stories are always solid, but they're never. Ever since 3, they have never hit that level story wise for me, and I always usually just enjoy just the nonsense and the mindless fun and killing in that game, where it's just craziness. 1 minute you're just driving, minding your business, but then you can find an enemy encampment, or you're at a checkpoint and everybody's blowing everybody up, and it's like fucking there's 30 fucking people. It just gets fucking, and say, oh, your fucking AI companions down because they're fucking useless, like in every other Far Cry game. But it's just a really fun ride for me. I always really like it's kind of like how people just go to for Assassin's Creed, where I don't know, like I don't feel like the Assassin's Creed story's been relevant for like 10 years now, like ever since Assassin's Creed 2, really. And it's kind of the same thing with Far Cry. Like Far Cry 3, that was the biggest one. Not to say that they're bad. I actually really enjoy them. And the notes of Far Cry 6 are pretty effing excellent, especially with Giancarlo Esposito. I think he does. Obviously, he plays the bad guy so well, but I mean, he does it so good. And I think they do a good job placing him a lot. You see him a lot in this game, and I like the threads that hit in the game. There's definitely problems with the game for sure that I don't really enjoy, like a lot of the pandering and stuff like that. We won't get too much of the nitty gritty. I'll let you guys experience that, But
the pandering was a lot.
They really go OD on it, and I don't like it's. It's okay if you walk the line, but man, they go over the line, I think, a little too much. And I did mention this too. It was the worst Far Cry story I probably played, but that's not in a bad way. I didn't mean that in a negative kind of sense, because it's just there's so many solid stories in Far Cry, and the ending to Far Cry 5 is really, really pretty effed up, and it's pretty good, and to the point where the spin-off in New Dawn, where those characters actually kind of, because you play as a new character in New Dawn, Far Cry New Dawn, but the characters from Far Cry 5, they make an appearance in that, and it's a real nice twist that I won't spoil in here, because I know a lot of people love that ending with midway through Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 4, where you kill Pagan Man. A lot of people like that, but Far Cry 5 and 6, they switch it up quite a bit. I won't spoil, but it's not like what you would expect from a Far Cry game, and I actually kind of really enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty fun, really fun experience. JJ's still trudging along. Lou's, I platinum the game in 68 hours. Lou's getting pretty close to it. He's really, really close. You just got to do a little bit of cleanup. But overall, man, what'd you think of Far Cry 6?
I thought Far Cry 6 was a good...
By the way, sorry, my apologies. This is your first one ever, right?
Yes, this is my first Far Cry. I'm familiar with the series, though. I did some... as you go through, you kind of run into a lot of things, I guess you would say, through the years.
Yeah.
But...
especially with glitch and stuff.
I thought the story of Esposito was good. The gameplay was great. Yeah. Well, I know him a lot from Breaking Bad.
I think most people do. I think most people do.
So like, I've always felt that he was a great villain, and that's the reason that I bought this game, was basically to experience him again as a villain. But I mean, I like his part of the story. We talked about the ending that I really wasn't too fond of, but I get why they did it. But otherwise, the other parts, though, I thought it was a little... The gameplay was good. The chaotic world was good. I just felt the other parts, were kind of eye-roll and pandering. So, and that's it. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but a
lot of people are gonna pick that one up for Black Friday. Also, I feel like, I hate to say this in the wrong way, like Ubisoft, I appreciate that they do this high quality budget games they do, but I just feel like, and they put a lot of effort for the story, I just feel like a lot of people just don't pay attention. Like, they don't care. It's like a Call of Duty thing for them. Like, kind of like me. It's like a casual thing. They just enjoy it and just enjoy the craziness and have fun. They're not really paying attention too much. But
I
think the lines are pretty good. I think the narrative threads overall are pretty solid. But it's just, kind of Far Cry. I've been playing since Far Cry 3. I played 6 or 7 different Far Cries. Beat them all, platinum them all. Like, they're fun, even including Primal, which a lot of people didn't like. Which I actually enjoyed the Caveman one. But go ahead, sorry.
I hope they find a story that takes into a lot of people's liking. So it's just not the chaotic gameplay for everyone. You know what I mean? So
I think they're trying. They might have to, I don't know if reboot the formula is the right way, because it's going to be interesting to see what they do because of the ending of this game. Yeah. Are they going to have another spin-off like New Dawn for Far Cry 5, where that ending, that game continues directly from the ending of that game? So it's essentially kind of like a sequel, but you're a different character. But again, there's other characters in it. I'm trying not to spoil it as much as possible, because I think the ending's pretty damn good. I like the ending a lot in Far Cry 5 as well. Just as much as I thought the ending of 6 was really good. I was like, oh shit, like it wasn't something I was kind of expecting. I thought they were going to go in a way different direction, and luckily they didn't. They went in the way I thought was pretty good, and I enjoyed and was quite surprised at it. And yeah, mechanically it's still there, and some of the stuff I could fill in that Lou can't fill in is, I think they do a little poor job, because they used to have a skill tree, so you could actually know your abilities, like death from above and machete kill, multiple machete kills. A lot of that shit's tied to your attachments and what gear you wear, which I think is an interesting choice. I did really like that you got to see Danny a lot, whether you chose male or female. There was even a lot of confusion. People thought there was no male version of the character because they kept marketing the film, but there was a male version. I played male Danny, Lou played male Danny, and I like the fact you got to see him a lot, because Far Cry is always a first-person experience, but you actually had outfits and stuff. You could see what he looks like in certain areas in the hideout and stuff like that. And in the cutscenes you see him a lot. And I like that. I did enjoy that. Is he a great character? He's okay. He's all right,
I do want to play as the female and see if they have different type of dialogue.
Me too. When I played the PS4 one, I was thinking about doing that for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. It's like, because his stuff felt a little dry, like his storyline, and I'm wondering if they invested more into her dialogue because you were meant to be, her. I guess you would say. That's what I wonder if they would invest more and there's more to what's going on instead of him just being yes, 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 and okay, I'll do it. You know what I mean? And we'll do it together type thing.
I
So
think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no because that's kind of just how Ubisoft games work, and I think that's
yeah,
how Assassin's Creed Odyssey was. Like, it didn't matter who you chose; it was kind of the same dialogue, and that's kind of the Ubisoft route. They just do both, but they have both lines. It's just kind of the same. I'm betting it's going to be more of the same. It's just kind of Ubisoft's thing. And again, I
yeah,
don't hate that. I think that's fine. It's whatever you want to choose to play. But I think for a lot of newcomers like Lou, you might be lost because in Far Cry you could throw rocks to distract enemies, and I didn't even have to do that once this time. But it's tied to an attachment, and if you're not really paying attention to the attachments and shit like that, you're gonna be lost about that. You probably didn't even know you could kill people from diving down on them unless you follow the trophy. It's pretty solid. The driving's okay. The flying's okay. All that shit could be a little bit tighter. I think it's good enough for this type of game because it's just endless crazy fun. I thought the world was really beautiful. I thought the map was fucking huge. At first, I was like, "Man, is this it? This is the map? This little island shit?" And then, I like pan up over. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, oh,
yeah,
this huge ass fucking continent, and it's choose as you go. You can help whoever you want because there's 3 main camps you got to help and recruit, and you just go wherever you want. And that's why I like and appreciate about Ubisoft games and the craziness of Far Cry because some people just go straight through story. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just doing camps, whatever that pops up. Like I'm doing camps. I'm getting this shit, get a new gun, blah blah blah. Just kind of how it goes. Solving treasure. I'm not even thinking about trophy when I was doing some of that stuff. I just like doing the side quests anyway and reading some of the lore in between, like how this person died. I remember one in particular with the cliff diver. He had talked about his boat and he had treasure in it and how it blew up and sank and you had to like solve the riddle and jump off the find the key and then jump off the water. Jump into the water off like a huge cliff, and then you find his broken boat, and you get the like little shit like that. I like some of that stuff. There was a particular mission in Far Cry 5 that I really liked was about a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch killing somebody, and I was like, oh cool, it's kind of interesting. I'm like, are we gonna actually kill a Sasquatch? But that ends up not happening. Like, damn it! Like you just see the footprint or something of it, which is cool. It's a nice little thing. I like when they do interesting shit like that. But overall, it's a very fun experience for me. I don't think it's going to get nominated for Game of the Year or maybe any category. It might get a couple of categories. It might get Best First Person Shooter nominated for that, but not win that. Maybe Best Adventure Game or something. Like, it might get nominated for some of those categories. I don't see this one pulling in a lot of awards or anything like that. But it has nothing to do with Giancarlo Esposito or something. It's just kind of Far Cry. There's a lot of rumors that Far Cry 7 is going to change the formula up a lot. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I've been playing Guardians, like Lou said. I'm going to do a spoiler cast on that. And I beat Kenna. I'm on my second playthrough of Kenna to get the Platinum on Master Difficulty. So, but we also got GTA Trilogy on the way. But let's talk about really quick the next topic, because I don't think we'll spend too much time, because I think a lot of people A, didn't care about this topic, and B, they understood it right away. And it's the Sega Microsoft Alliance. And I'll in the video here I will link this article down here so you guys can read it if you want to, but I'm going to explain it to you guys in pretty much detail. But the Sega Microsoft Alliance, let me go back in time a little bit. Sega and Microsoft have always kind of had an alliance anyway. They've always done games together. I remember in the original Microsoft. And I think Microsoft Windows was actually in the Sega Dreamcast back in the day. I was really young, so I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they helped out with that. And then Sega obviously stopped making consoles. They're both multi-billion-dollar company. But they've always kind of had a interesting team, alliance. You know, they've always kind of been there. And this is not this is not a this is not like a takeover or anything like that. They're just quote unquote potentially making games for cloud gaming Azure. And that's all it really is. It's all potential. It's them essentially signing a deal for Azure cloud gaming service from Microsoft. And there was another big company, Japanese company, that did the same thing, Sony. Sony did the same thing. They actually have partnered with Microsoft on Azure cloud gaming. And that's, I know a lot of people were all over the place on this. They were bringing up Atlas. They're bringing up Microsoft's buying Sega. They're getting all this shit. Like, all that could happen, but honestly, it's a bunch of nothing. It's a bunch of potential, and I hate to say it that way, because it's all it is. Because cloud gaming is what Microsoft is betting on in the future. There was rumors they were talking about getting Kojima to do a cloud game, right? He signed a letter of intent, which a lot of people are like, oh my god, Kojima betrayed Sony. Like, no, like, it's a letter of intent doesn't mean you're actually going to do anything. You know, it's just maybe there's possibilities. And that's just what I saw from this. How did you feel about it? What did you think about it? Because I didn't really see the internet even talk about this at all.
Well, I feel like it went under. I feel like it went under the radar. I don't feel like it's as much of a big deal, but I do feel like it's a business, and business at the end of the day. Yeah. And it opens the door for a trustworthy relationship down the line. So, we'll see how it goes going forward. I know they're trying to do this cloud gaming stuff, which is cool. Like I said earlier,
if people don't know what that means, by the way, let me clarify that really quick. That could mean anything. It's essentially them wanting you to play Gears of War or Sonic or whatever property it is on your phone or your tablet or your PC. That's what they kind of want to do. And also essentially stream games over the cloud. Just put games over the cloud so you can potentially play them anywhere. That's the model Microsoft's been trying to do for a long time. Ever since Xbox One was launched and Phil Spencer got the head position in Microsoft gaming there.
But to finish my thought real quick.
Yeah.
Microsoft is interested in buying studios.
Yep.
That's the first thing that that's the first conclusion you would have to jump to when you hear this partnership. And it's not really in the cloud gaming service. It's not really like they're buying Sega, obviously, but it's more of, I think Microsoft's just trying to maneuver a relationship and get their foot in Japan. So we'll see how it goes going forward. So, yeah. I mean, it's nothing to be worried about or anything like that, but it is fun to think about what could happen in the future.
Well, because
we've been hearing this from people. We've been hearing this for a while now, right? Is that Microsoft and Sega had something cooking, and most of us jumped to the conclusion that they were buying Sega. So because of the fact that they're looking to buy companies. So now that we know what's going on. It's not like that right now. But you never know what's going to happen in the future, though. When you mix and mingle.
I get what you're saying, but they've always that's what I was saying earlier was that they've always kind of had this partnership already. They always had a long history together, but to me, I never got that vibe. Like, I understand if you're a hardcore Microsoft fan and that's all you play is Microsoft games. Yeah. You don't play. I could see why you would oh shit, this is. But all it was literally is just Azure. Is just for the Azure gaming, cloud service or whatever. That's literally all it was, and potentially them making a super game. But I understand. If you are, again, a heart, holy shit, we're going to do all that, all those things could potentially happen. And also, it wouldn't be super easy for Microsoft to buy Sega. It would take a long, arduous process because it's a Japanese company, and foreign companies buying each other, it rarely ever happens to begin with. It's pretty hard to do, essentially. Especially that, like, one of the biggest ever. But, like you said, I understand what you're saying, like, you could rule it out, but I don't, like, again, I never got, like, that vibe from this whole statement or anything at all. I got the vibe that it's just literally about cloud gaming, and that's why no one talks about it. Like, that's why I know, because no one cares
Xbox is
at the
going
moment.
Xbox, if they had the opportunity to, they would go and buy Sega.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that, they're just trying to get their foot in the door. It's kind of like trying to lure love. So we'll see what happens going forward. I don't. If anything is going to happen with Tao, it's going to be about another 4 to 5 years, which I don't even think it's going to happen. I don't think so. I don't think Sega will go with Microsoft. I think this is just a partnership, but Xbox is trying. They're trying. So
that's a good point. That's what I was thinking too, because this is potentially 4 or 5 years cloud game. It's just preparing if that happens, because Microsoft sees Amazon and Google as a big competitor to their cloud gaming technology, and Microsoft I think has the best of it right now, and that's why Sony signed with Microsoft with that. They have a partnership deal with cloud gaming, because if it ever gets to that point, they have something they could use for cloud gaming and streaming and stuff like that, which is good. That shit's great. I like what Microsoft does for the gaming industry and stuff like that, but I think people are stretching it a little bit if you really think this is going to be like their foot in the door to buy. Like, it doesn't work that way, is what I'm trying to say. Which is, again, you never know. Like, Lou brought up a good point. Like, you never fucking know. But
that is how business works, though.
Yeah.
Like, you build a trustworthy relationship, and
but they already have that, though, Lou. They've had that for 20 years now, since 1999. That's what I'm saying. It's just the same. It's kind of what they've done already. They've already put Sega games on Xbox, the original Xbox. Jet Set Radio. Before Forza was what was that other one? GT Pro or something? Sega GT Pro.
Yeah.
So they've always kind of done. They've always kind of done this already. Is what I'm saying.
Microsoft's in a new world now. They're more predators. So they're waiting to feast on their prey.
I think
see how it goes.
I think Microsoft will buy more studios. Obviously, I mean, I think so. But I think Sony's going to do that. Nintendo's going to do that. Google and Amazon are going to do that. They're going to buy studios. It'd be interesting to see, because Microsoft has so much already, so many studios already. I'm hoping they just do well with those ones. Like, can they actually make good games with those? And that's yet to be determined. That's TBD. That's like 4 years off, it seems like. So, a lot of time, smart move by Sega to sign with Microsoft with this gaming alliance in terms of Azure cloud gaming. Because if it ever takes off, they're going to be mega rich. They're going to be mega rich. Like, if Azure gaming actually takes off, I just don't think people are there yet. Obviously, cloud gaming will be a thing in the future. I think, 20 years down the road, 15 to 20 years down the road, when we're like old ass men. We're probably, because a lot of people feel like physical releases are going away, but I feel like it's like CDs, right? You still see CDs around. It's going to be the same thing. It's just be less of them. And you're already technically kind of seeing that already, right? Less physical versions of games, like especially Japanese related games. Those go pretty quick now, right? So that's just the vibe. I mean, I could see why people would jump to all these conclusions, but I don't know. It's not the vibe. I think it was plain as day. They just told you it's cloud game. Like, that's literally what it is. I'm interested, because shout out to Prandy, brought up a great point, because Phantasy Star has been kind of exclusive for them online. Phantasy Star, PSO2 something. I don't know the full name of it. I've seen people play Phantasy Star. It's an MMO, not my vibe. I know a lot of people want it. A lot of people thought it was like a year exclusivity, kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake or something like that. I don't know. But that could be huge. Like, that game could be big for this mobile thing. Because if you can put this cloud gaming and you play this game anywhere on your phone, your tablet, PC, and your Xbox, that's big. That will probably do pretty well. And I think that's a good point made by Prandy. Shout out to Prandy. But let's move on. Let's talk about the Nintendo Switchy expansion. Lou has gotten this, and there was a little bit of controversy with it. I haven't picked it up yet. We're waiting. I do want to get it because the price is pretty effing high, even for the family. The family plan is like $80 now with the Switchy expansion. And the biggest controversy was like N64 games just don't run well. Have you messed around with your Switchy expansion yet, Lou?
No.
What do you think of it? What do you think of the pricing and everything about it?
I think the price is a little too steep.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea. I don't know. Like, it's just not. I know a lot of people are going crazy nostalgia reasons, but for me, I don't mind the nostalgia, but I have to be in the mood to go back and play some of these older games.
Yeah.
So it's not like one of those things I can pick it up anytime I want. And if it were up to me, if I didn't have so many people involved in my plan that we went splitsies on, I would have just gotten a regular one.
Yeah.
Because I can pull out my N64 and play those games anytime I want. So, it is what it is. And it'll run better, too. 10 times better.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of the shame, right? A lot of people brought up a great point. Like, you're paying for old stuff. Like, you're not getting a discount on the store. You're not getting, plus or gold games like those other two programs. You're paying for old Sega and N64 stuff. And like you said, the nostalgia is great, but it doesn't run well. And that's kind of odd. I think they'll obviously fix it, hopefully. I mean, you could only assume. It's a very Nintendo thing, unfortunately.
Personally, I think they should have upped the prices on online by $10 and just gave it away for free.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get it. If you want that, it's a part of the Nintendo Switch Online thing.
There should have been more options, because the reason why it's so steep in price is the Animal Crossing expansion is automatically in there. But what if you don't have Animal Crossing? And I know there's like 33 million, people that have like Animal Crossing, but there's still like 80 million Switches out there. There's still like 50 million other Switches that don't have Animal Crossing. So they paid for expansion that they will never use. There should be another option for people to get it. Like, it's very weird. I do think the price is too high. I think there needs to be more benefit. I think they need to redo a lot of stuff on the Switch. Like, A, the internet, B, the store. The store is very messy and very plain looking. And they need to have better bonuses and stuff. You gotta be able to. What's up, Shannon? How you doing? You gotta be able to have like some other, something else in here to sweeten the pot a little bit. It can't just be nostalgia. And I understand the intent was the Animal Crossing stuff, right? But again, there's 50 million people that don't have it. And they're like, people are kind of unfortunately have to buy this, and they're going to have an expansion they don't use. Maybe their thinking is, they buy the expansion, and eventually it will dip in Animal Crossing, right? I don't know. I
$50 though for one person, and then $80 for a family plan.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a lot of money. It's a huge jump, because it was only like $20, right?
It was 20 and then like 35 for the family plan.
So
you're talking about a $45 jump.
Yeah,
a $45 jump in one area, and then you're talking about a $30 jump in another area. Yeah. That's a lot.
It's huge, and it's very odd to me, and it's interesting. Obviously, I think I will be picking it up eventually, because I am on a family plan with JJ and a few other people. But right now, it wasn't I wasn't ready to jump to get the N64 stuff. 'Cause I already actually have my N64 plugged in, ready to play. And it was really disappointing to hear that the N64 doesn't run well on that. I'm like, damn, like that doesn't even run well. Like that needs to be fixed. And I'm not saying go online and just download, a random emulator that works 20 times better than this. But unfortunately, this just screams Nintendo to me. And I love Nintendo, love my Switch. But they got to sweeten the pot. They got to do things better. Like, things got to be better. Like, this has got to be a better, like, especially if you're going to charge people a lot, like arm and a leg for stuff.
Nintendo's in the league of their own. Yep. You can't criticize them, unfortunately. Like, Microsoft brings backwards compatibility, and we start criticizing Sony for not having backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. And maybe I saw some rumors that the Switch 2 is not going to have backwards compatibility with the Switch.
Really? So, I saw rumors it's 4K for sure.
Yeah, but if they don't have that, that's they'll get away with that. So
that'd be so odd. That'd be really odd. But you could. I mean, it's Nintendo, dude. Like you said, dude, they could get away with like if anyone could do it, it is Nintendo for sure.
Yep.
But. Just our thoughts on it. Let us know what you think, honestly. Chat and fans, how you feel about the Switchy Online. Do you guys upgrade right away? Family plan, stuff like that. I think a little too steep at the moment for most people. I think the regular plan will do. Man, such an exciting announcement, kind of tarnished a little bit, I think, for a lot of people. Let's talk about the GTA Trilogy. Comes out next week, Thursday, digitally. And then physically, it's in December, right? Something like that?
Yes.
What is the hype level right now, Lou? And were you really excited about this? Is the upgrades worth it? And also, was it what you were expecting, or kind of you wish they did a little bit more? What do you think? What was the hype level for you with the GTA trailer? Because you and me have been talking about this on the channel for a while now, right? It finally fucking happened, right? Is it what you expected?
No. I find it very puzzling. We haven't seen a lot of this. What it looks like, we've seen a couple of visuals of the differences.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen some video of the differences, I should say. The other thing is that I kind of expected more to be done with it, but I guess we'll wait and see. I kind of expected like a full-blown remake.
Oh God, it was so awesome.
I mean, the games are so old right now. Like, I don't see a problem with doing a full-blown remake for those games, but this is just kind of how Microsoft rolls now. Like,
you mean Rockstar?
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Look at you. You're starting to fan the flames. You bad person. You piece of scum.
I'm sorry. I'm really into this Knicks and Bucks game right now too. So I'm trying to. I just saw Barrett miss a 3 and Randall do a putback. But yeah. So to get back to my thought, that's kind of how my Rockstar rolls now. Yeah. So, I mean, think of what they did with the Mafia quote-unquote trilogy. They didn't even do a remake. They just did Definitive Edition for 2. So, and then they upped 3 to 4K and runs terrible on the PS5. So, and then they actually did a full-blown remake for 1, which was really good.
Yeah.
So, which I would suggest getting if it's on sale. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get it, obviously. I want to try it out. I hope they didn't take away a lot of the characteristics that the game originally had. Yeah. But if they do, it's going to be very disappointing. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's more than what I expected, honestly. I expected them to do very little, and they actually did quite a bit. They did, like, texture everything. They fixed the draw distances and a lot of stuff. It looks pretty good. They actually have fingers now. Like, they actually are going off the Grand Theft Auto 5 scheme. So it'll play like Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the biggest thing that it needed was the control scheme. Because if you go back and play the older ones, like the control scheme feels a little bit wonky, a little stiff, right? And now this will feel like all three games will feel like Grand Theft Auto 5. It's $60. JJ pre-ordered it. We game share, so I get it free. It's next week. Pretty stoked just to go straight to effing Vice City. That's one of my favorite ones of all time. I think I said San Andreas was my favorite, but I do love Vice City. I'm excited to just go back to the 80s.
I can't wait to play 3 as well. 3 was good.
They were all good. All 3 of them were excellent. Like 3 changed Grand Theft Auto forever.
Yeah.
But I want to go right to fucking Vice City. Like the 80s, the nostalgia. Reminds me of Guardians right now with all the nostalgia 80s songs in there. So I kind of I just really, Tommy Vercetti. I can't wait to see those characters again. I remember being a little effing kid playing Vice City, It's been a long time. It's been a huge long, because unfortunately my copy of Vice City doesn't work anymore for my PS2. I didn't really take good care of it. It's a lot of scratches on it and shit. And the case is a little bit long. I let a lot of people borrow that game, so unfortunately it just kind of got wrecked with all the playing with everybody playing it. We used to play that game all the time. That game was so fun. So I'm just excited just to go back and play that. And actually kind of having the time for it, because I finished in Platinum Far Cry. I should be Platinum with Guardians by that time too. I am getting Shin Megami Tensei 5 that week. We'll do an unboxing video of the collector's edition that I got for that next Friday. So I'm excited for that as well. But I get to play Grand Theft Auto for a day before that, so I'll actually have some time to play those 2 games. But it's more than what I expected. The one thing I'll say, people can dive in deeper if they want, because we won't go too much into that. But I don't believe in the censorship, and there's already things censored, and I'm interested to see how much more is censored. But I'll let you guys go look at that on your own. I won't say it here, but I don't believe in it. I don't like censorship. You guys know how I felt about censorship in a lot of Japanese games. I don't like that shit either. You let me have my boobies, god damn it, in Japanese games.
100%.
And it's really really exciting, honestly, to replay these games again. But it does hamper it. That does hamper it a little bit for me. But honestly, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna enjoy it. I think enough people won't care. They'll just go and just enjoy this game, or they'll find out and be angry later, because that's what used to, old Rockstar used to be. It's just having fun and satire and stuff. And that's all I'll say about that. But I am excited for it. Going right to Vice City. Which one are you going all? Are you going to go through all of them in order, Lou, or which one are you hopping in first?
I might go all in order. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
What a loser! Chat, make sure you put L's for Lou in the comment section. What a loser, dude. Go to Vice City. Be a winner, right?
Hey, it don't really matter. I mean,
very true. Very true. 3 is great though, man. I had so many great. I remember renting. I had to rent one get one free on Blockbuster coupon as a little kid, and I remember I gave it to my dad, and I got to rent Grand Theft Auto 3 and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. That was one of the funnest weekends I have ever had, gaming wise. Was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and Grand Theft Auto 3, and I was blown away because my buddy, shout out to my buddy Eric, he let me borrow GTA 2 for PlayStation 1, and I played the fuck out of that. But if you guys don't remember what GTA 2 was, it was a top-down game. It was a top-down, over-the-head type style. So when I played 3, I'm like, holy shit, this open-world, third-person game. Like, holy shit, and it changed it forever. Changed Grand Theft Auto forever. Then Vice City came out. I'm like, damn, this shit's hot. And then San Andreas, that shit's hot. And then we got 4. Like, it's amazing growing up with that and seeing it grow to this behemoth. But man, it changed gaming because the voice acting was so fucking good at that time too. And it was, it's always always on the parents' hit list. Like, you shouldn't play that. Like, no children should play that game. I remember back in said place days, I sold a lot of GTA to children. Because of, I remember reading the parental advisory warning to the parents, like, everything, and they're like, nope, it's okay. I'm like, all right, whatever. You okayed it. Nothing I can do. Tried to warn you. But man, I have so much great memories playing 3. But Vice City, I just can't wait. I don't know why. I'm really excited to go back. Because maybe it's been like 15 years since I went back to Vice City. That's why, probably. But I'm stoked to go to Vice City. All right, let's end the pod with Sony State of Play October 27th, which was a week ago. You know, happy belated Halloween to everybody. We are in November. I hope everybody had a great Halloween and stuff like that. Wasn't able to do a Halloween pod this year, but we had I had a fun on Halloween. I've been playing a lot of DBD. That's the one thing I forgot to mention. I've got really back into Dead by Daylight. Been loving it. Been playing that game like a fiend lately. But let's talk about the State of Play. Was it I've seen a lot of people were really disappointed with this one. Were you, Lou? Were you disappointed with this State of Play?
It was terrible. It wasn't good. It was. I mean, they had a couple of good announcements, but I expected at least one more better announcement.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's how do I put it well? It was very lackluster. And I guess it's because, you know, with Sony in particular, you know, now it seems like they just shit gold right now. Mm-hmm. So you kind of expect a lot of, like, just a surprise. And then the way that they kind of ended it, I was kind of like, oh, is that it? Oh, dang, that kind of just went by so quick.
Yeah, it was only 20 minutes, yeah. Yeah,
so, you know, it wasn't that good. The Five Nights at Freddy's, they announced, they showed a release date for their new game. And then, what was the other one? I forget it. There was another one that I liked.
Bug Snacks?
Yeah, I like that. I like the DLC for that. But there was another announcement. Well, I guess I really didn't like it if I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Ocean?
So, huh?
Star
Ocean. Yes. So Star Ocean. Those were the two for me.
That was the biggest surprise.
Whatever. Yeah.
I didn't think this was terrible. I understand. Like, Sony, everything with Sony nowadays, man, the expectations are always through the roof. That's why I always try to keep my expectations in check for a lot of these things. And this was a surprise State of Play because this was only a month later after the September showcase we got, which we all universally pretty much liked. And there was a lot of people that didn't like that one either. But that one was fucking good. Like, they showed a lot of good stuff in that.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I don't
remember
think
they said
to me this one showed a lot of good games because there was only like 7-8 games, and 5 of them I really, really fucking liked. Like 6 of them I really, really liked. I personally was Little Devil Inside, the Bug Snacks DLC, and we're getting trophies I think finally for that. FNAF Security Breach, Star Ocean, First Class Trouble, which we got free for Plus. Jake Freddy played. Shout out to my little cousin Jake and Ray put 14 hours in that bitch. That game looked really fun. And then the Kart Racer one. The Kart Racer is a free-to-play one, but it looked like frickin' Mario Kart. Like, it would rip off from Mario Kart, and I like that. The only problem with the Kart Racer game, it should have been Sony Kart Racer game. It would have been so much cooler to have Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, and Spider-Man, and all these people. You know, Nathan Drake and a kart racer. I don't know why Nintendo don't do that either. Why don't they do like a Nintendo kart? Like the Smash Brothers and Nintendo karts, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Sony should do the same thing, but the kart like, there was a lot that I actually really liked. But I understand it, man. If you were expecting fucking Resident Evil 4, Jedi Fallen Order 2, I remember you mentioned that to me. I mentioned that in the party. And it's like, oh shit, like, yeah, that sets the expectations like super high. But even if those games were in this, I think people still would be like, oh, it will never be a good enough. Sony has created an insatiable hunger ever since 2015 E3. ever since that E3, people go nuts. Sony shuts down the internet every time they do a state of play or their E3. Like, people go crazy, and it's never good enough. And that's a good and bad thing. Personally, I think that's a good thing. But I understand why people say this would suck. You know, this was terrible. You know, because it's nothing you want.
For one thing, too, is that, remember there was that article going around, a couple articles that Sony was actually holding back, and they're going to show more later on.
Yes.
So that's why I kind of figured that maybe in this show they would show, like, they would separate, like, the big third-party announcements in this one, maybe one or two since it was 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But, you know, and they just, I mean, they really didn't show one big announcement.
Yeah.
So Five Nights at Freddy's is fine.
That game's a lot bigger than most people think, though. Like that YouTube video has like 8 million views on that.
Yeah.
For like Five Nights at Freddy's, fucking huge. It's like one of the biggest gaming franchises, and this one looks like a huge step forward in just gaming and everything. In their gameplay and stuff like that, because it's normally a PC, you know, point and click game. Like this one, you actually get to control the kid and everything, and you can move around in this big 3D open space. It looks pretty good. It looks like they put a lot of effort into it. To me, Star Ocean was the biggest thing. Like, I can't believe we're getting another Star Ocean. But unfortunately, it looks like they didn't put any fucking money into it, Square Enix. So it's like, damn it. Like, I'm so excited that I remember telling this story in the party. You know, I bought Star Ocean Faith, Star Ocean 5. Like, I bought the collector's edition from the Square Enix store, $110. I was so excited. And it was just okay. Like, it was so empty. Like, they need a bigger budget. And I was hoping Square would dish out some budget on this game. The fact that we're getting a sequel is a damn miracle. But I took this state of play as more of paying the bills. And that article you mentioned earlier, where they were holding back a little bit, is because there's supposedly that PlayStation experience in December, or they're going to have some stuff for Jeff Keighley's show. I think they'll have some big stuff saved for there, for sure. I do think, I hope anyway. Last year's Jeff Keighley Game Awards, and it really wasn't that many big announcements. It was kind of a lackluster one. I'm hoping this year he brings it again. The Mortal Kombat 12 rumor, you know, potentially RE4 remake there. You know, Jedi Fallen Order 2, yada, yada, yada. A lot of stuff that could happen. Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft might have a thing there. But we'll see. Only time will tell. But I took it as them paying the bills on this one because, you know, you have these third-party contracts, stuff like that. Even though you might see a little bit of negative publicity and stuff on this, the showcase wasn't that good and stuff. You're still like 2 to 3 million people watch this. You know, like, so you still sold these games to a good amount of these people. Even if you just sold one game, you paid the bills for third parties right there. There. So that's how I took it as house cleaning, because it was a surprise. It was nobody thought. We weren't even fucking thinking we were getting a state of play in October. But I understand. I really do understand. If things could always be better. And ever since, again, this goes all the way back to 2015 E3, Sony blew everyone's dick out of the water in that showcase. And then 2016's E3 could have even been better. They just blow everyone's dick out of the water on that. And ever since those two E3s, the expectation is just, it's unsatiable hunger for people, because you're never going to be satisfied or happy anymore, because those two were so good. And people are clamoring for that. And people want Sony to have fun again. A lot of people feel like Sony's not having fun anymore. They're just being too business oriented. They're just making smart business moves, and they're not. Because E3 is it was supposed to be the most boring thing on earth. You know why? Because it's electronic expo for just business investors. That's what E3 was, right? And then the fans invaded it, right? And then Sony's like, shit, let's just cater to our fans, and it just changed everything. It changed everything for gaming history. You know, it wasn't a boring show PowerPoint presentation anymore. What did Sony do for those two showcases? There's very little talking, game after game after game after game, and it was like big hitter after big hitter. You know, Final Fantasy VII remake. You know, Shenmue 3, God of War. You know, Resident Evil 7. Like, it's all these big ass. It was huge. It was amazing, and I think Sony will though. I think Sony will go back. I think Sony will remember a lot of the PlayStation 1 era this generation for PS5, and they'll remember a lot of that PS4 era where they built a lot of goodwill for people. I think they'll have fun again. I think we'll see some of that shit again. It's just, unfortunately, you got to be patient. I know a lot of you have been waiting fucking 8 years now. 6 years, right? Ever since that 2015 one, but I don't know. I didn't, honestly, just my personal opinion, I just didn't think it was too bad. I think it was just housekeeping, cleaning. Could it have been better? Fuck yeah. It could always be better. But even if they had Jedi Fallen Order 2 or Resident Evil 4, it still wouldn't be enough for people. People would still be like, oh my god.
I didn't take it that serious, though, where it's like, I question if Sony's even having fun anymore or what's going on. I just felt that it was just,
but a lot of people are. A lot of people are, not just with this, just all the PlayStation, like all the PlayStation PlayStation State of Plays, right? They've always been, even when Sony sets your expectations for State of Play, this is just going to be Deathloop, and we're going to show a couple other games. People fucking hate it, quote unquote, right? But it still has like 5 million views. Fucking Horizon. This is going to be Horizon. Oh, that's all you showed was Horizon? It's like they fucking told you that's what they're all going to show you, right? It's like you're never going to please everybody. A lot of people feel like they're not having... Like, people miss that, the flamboyance, the stage act, and the stuff like that. Ever since Sony left E3, people feel like they stopped having fun. Ever since that 2019 E3, right? And then the best ones being 2015 and 16, where they got what people wanted, and it just blew everybody away. But I'm with you. I didn't take it that serious, where it's like, oh shit. I think Sony will have fun again and everything. And again, I think this is just housekeeping, paying the bills. I think Sony overall had a fantastic year in gaming. This year in gaming in general has been quite the surprise. It's been really good. A lot of people been like, oh, what's going to be the game of the year and stuff like that. But there's a lot of games that could potentially win it. And I think that's good. I think that's really good. That shows the quality of the games this year. A lot of surprises, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Everybody, it was only me, Lou, and JJ, I think, were even hyped about that game. And that game turned out to be so good, so fantastic, in my personal opinion. But that is it for today's show. We had a lot of fun. I want to thank Lou. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully I didn't take too much of your time. Again, we're gonna have
good.
We're gonna have
more fun.
We're gonna have more pods in the future. We're gonna have a pod next week for Guardians of the Galaxy, and we will also have a pod for when the Game of the Year nominees pop up. So I'll try to snag JJ and Lou for that one. Possibly Chad the Bearded Wonder. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all Shannon, Joel, all our supporters. Appreciate all the love. Make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. Comment down below. What'd you think of everything we talked about? The State of Play, Nintendo Switch expansion, Sega Microsoft Alliance, GTA Trilogy. You guys hyped for that? Again, I appreciate all the love and support. I've been your fellow Strassman of the GG, and Lou, we're outie.
See ya.